what I hope to talk to you today about is that very discovery. So why would you buy Emmerson? What sets Emmerson apart? We've got a great land position, two land positions, one in Tennant Creek, Northern Territory, one of the highest grade goldfields, as Kerry pointed out, and also a good land position in New South Wales, the home of the giant porphyry copper deposits. We've got a good track record of discoveries. We're using some of the most innovative technology and data processing to reinvigorate that rich discovery history in Tennant Creek. And the big differentiator with Emmerson is that we're creating a gold royalty business. And this, we saw, for those of you who saw the Rob Murdoch talk and presentation yesterday, the time to invest in juniors is at the start of discovery, which obviously we've got here at Hermitage. That's the sweet spot where the value increases as the drills and results are released. So those early drill results, that's the time to get in. And then there's the danger zone where you go through resource drilling, the share price basically goes to sleep, you build, develop, you mine. Our emerging gold royalty business gets over that danger zone. It avoids that danger zone. We take a royalty from that building, developing and processing. So this, I draw your attention to that differentiator on this slide, creating the emerging gold royalty business, but also the exploration we've got planned. So we've got planning, we've got aggressive programs planned for Hermitage, further plans. We've just finished our phase 2 drill program. We'll be drilling a Keola project in New South Wales later in the year. Jasper Hills, we've got some land access hurdles to overcome there, but we're confident, and we're very confident that that's another Hermitage lookalike. And then we've just been awarded 3 out of 3 co-funding collaboration grants from the NT government. I think that's testament to the confidence that we've built over the time in our ability to find discoveries through using new technology. So a bit about the discovery team here. We have a strong partnership with the custodians of the land we explore on, the Warramungu people. Emmerson are the foundation sponsors of the local Clontarf Association, which gets the boys to school through football, and then drums into them at a very early age the work ethic. So we've taken on a number of these lads, and they're now valuable members of the Emmerson team, as you can see here. So grade is king, and this slide is somewhat sobering. As you can see that I've pulled together the small footprint, the footprint of what these high-grade deposits look like. So these are historical deposits, and you know, they're very high grade, small footprint, very, very rich and very high value. They're company makers, so Normandy you know, funded all of their exploration, and you know, were very successful in the Tennant Creek field during the sort of the 70s to 80s. But you can see from that the plan view of these, like the Warrego is one of the biggest, you know, is really only sort of 200 metres. So it's, to put you on scale, that's very, very different scale than the Yilgarn and a number of these other deposits that you see around the traps. It's quite a sobering slide because they are small footprint, challenging to find in terms of exploration, but I want to come back to it later on. We've cracked the code on this. So part of our cracking the code is using some innovative technology to find these things, and it's through using the drone magnetics and the processing of those. So now turning to our discovery at Hermitage in Tennant Creek. This was the discovery drill hole back in November. 116 metres at 3.4% copper, 0.88 grams per tonne gold. It did have some higher grade gold and copper throughout the hole. So it was continuous copper mineralisation, and it was a fantastic drill hole. It was a vertical hole. It went from about 50 metres below the surface into the malachite copper carbonate mineralisation, down into native copper. I was actually out on the rig at the time. One of the Clontarf lads, that's one of the fieldies, said, "Oh, we've hit a copper pipe, Rob. All this copper keeps coming up." I said, "Oh, I don't think there's any copper pipes out here. This is native copper." So spectacular intersection. And then we punched through that down into the primary chalcopyrite. We couldn't see the gold in this hole, but obviously there was some there when we sent the assay results in. So one of the slightly disappointing aspects was that this was an RC drill hole, drilled down to about 198 metres. We went back there quite recently in this next phase of drilling to deepen that hole, and we hit a big fault which cuts it off. So we were expecting to drill down at the bowels of the earth in copper mineralisation, but it didn't quite turn out like that. So this was an ASX in May this year. So this is our phase 2 drilling, following up of that discovery hole, and it's drill hole number 5. And again, a cracker in terms of copper. You can see the malachite, quite clearly. It's about 38 metre thick interval of copper mineralisation, quite close to the surface. And we're putting out visuals simply because the assays are so slow to go through the laboratory at the moment. So there's a 6-week delay in getting assay results. So we're trying to keep investors engaged through putting out visuals. This has gone off to the laboratory. It'll probably be 4 or 5 weeks, but it's certainly a major zone of copper mineralisation, a new zone outside the discovery hole. This is what we put out yesterday. So this is drill hole number 10, and it's an absolute cracker. We start again in oxidised, the oxide zone, malachite up the top, into native copper. That's a big accumulation of native copper in a vug, and quite appropriate for this conference. We then transition into this gold zone. Now that's all visible gold. You don't typically see a lot of visible gold in Tennant Creek. Usually, even though it's a very, very high-grade mineral field, typically it's disseminated and it's too fine to see. This is a hallmark of what we hope will be a very high-grade intersection, assays pending. But I think the most important and the most interesting thing is that we then punch through that fault zone I was telling you about earlier in the discovery hole into this zone of chalcopyrite bornite within stockwork quartz veins. So the big implication here is that the copper continues down plunge. So the copper mineralisation continues. And as you would have seen from the geometry I showed before of the major discoveries in Tennant Creek, it's that down plunge extent that's important to adding the grades and tonnes on these things. So this is a testament to the fact that it continues on. It's a new style of mineralisation. It's not associated with iron oxide. It's associated with stockwork quartz vein. So really, really interesting, really exciting, and I think that's part of the reason why we got quite a lot of traction in the market yesterday, because people can see that this Hermitage project is starting to build into something of substance. Just to point out what the section, what the plan looks like. The red is the magnetic anomaly, so that's the magnetics associated with the iron oxide alteration around that host the gold mineralisation. Here's the major east-west structures. These are the drill holes. The discovery hole was there. That new zone of mineralisation sits up in there. We don't know. We've only got one drill hole into it. We don't know the extent of that yet. Whether it joins up with this, we don't know. But we're well within the kind of scale of a lot of those footprint of those historic deposits, as I showed in that previous slide. So this is what it looks like in cross section. We've got the new zone of mineralisation there. This is this number 10 drill hole. Went down through here. So started off in in malachite, then went into native copper, then punched out through the gold zone in here. This is that fault. We punched through the fault zone into this new style of mineralisation, which is chalcopyrite bornite in stockwork quartz veins. Now, we don't know the size of it, we don't know the extent of it, we've only got one drill hole in it at this point in time. A little bit on our capital structure. Fortuitously, we did a raising just before Easter, and we're very well cashed up. So we've got certainly lots of money to fund our exploration, and we've got a terrific shareholder base. Board of directors, it's been a very stable company. I've been with the company over 12 years now, and most of these people have as well. So it's been very, very stable. We've had a absolute laser-like focus on discovery in the Tennant Creek mineral field. This is our tenement position. Tennant Creek is a real exploration hotspot. You know, you can see all these tenements out here, but we own what we believe is the best ground right in the core of Tennant Creek. As I said, 1,700 square kilometres. And now I want to turn a little bit to our gold royalty business. So the Hermitage and Jasper Hills discovery are up here. They're our 100% owned Emmerson. They're not part of the joint venture. The green and the pink are the joint venture. That's with our joint venture partners here, Tennant Consolidated Mining Group. They're putting in the mill. So all of these gold resources at the moment are stranded assets. Once that mill gets in there, that'll obviously unlock the value in those, and our royalty will start kicking in. So basically, joint venture partner, they've secured this second-hand mill from Cloncurry, putting it in here. It's probably start processing next year. The joint venture, they're funding us to do the exploration in the blue and pink areas, and you know, that's a $10.5 million spend over 5 years. I want to talk briefly about some of our technology. So this is the drone technology. So all of these crosses here, rock pick crosses, are the major mines in the Tennant Creek, and they're all associated with these red blobs. That's the magnetics, so that's reflecting the host to the gold. So the most obvious ones have been drilled and found. Okay, so this survey, this aeromagnetic survey, was done by a fixed wing plane, and our discoveries, you wouldn't go out here because there's nothing there in this survey. When you fly the drone, that's what it looks like in the fixed wing. You don't see it. This is what you see when you fly the drone, and this is the Mauritania discovery here. So it lights up. It really lights up, and we're flying that drone on 15-metre space lines, 15 metres above the ground, and we've done a 10,000-kilometre line survey here, and we're just about to start another one up in here. So it's a real breakthrough to unlocking the rich discovery history of the Tennant Creek field. So just in summary, unlocking the value, we're unlocking the stranded assets in Tennant Creek through this strategic alliance with Tennant Creek, with TCMG. We continue to drive district-wide exploration. We've got an exciting news flow coming through from our drilling. We've got new mineral resource estimates from Chariot and Mauritania. So they are the ones where you'll get our 6% gold production royalty once they get into production. We've got this emerging gold royalty business, which I think is a real differentiator. So we don't take the risk on any of the mining and processing. We just take a 6% gold production royalty. And we're unlocking new ground. We've got this fantastic partnership with the traditional owners. There's lots of ground in Tennant Creek that's got sacred sites with big buffer zones, and this relationship we've got with the traditional owners is allowing us to unlock some of the ground in those buffer zones. And the Jasper Hills project, which is just adjacent to our discovery here at Hermitage, is one of those sites that we hope to get access to. So we've got a very strong pipeline and a very experienced team, so we're raring to go. Thank you very much.
They're all keeping to time. It's wonderful. Thanks, Rob. Really interesting project. I love that sort of gold royalty differentiator with Rob, what Rob is doing. Next up, we have Matt Gill. He is the Managing Director and CEO of White Rock Minerals. Now, they've got projects in Victoria, New South Wales, and then all the way up in Alaska. Here to tell the story, please welcome Matt Gill.